Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 219. Back down in the basement with a very special co-host with us today. You won't see her, you won't hear her, but just know she's here. Toast has arrived. She's under the table. Our cat has never done this before.
Quality cat loaf.
Never. That is a quality cat loaf. That's like an 8.5 cat loaf down there. She's never stayed in here in her existence, right?
No, I feel like I brought her on once and then she left.
Maybe it's the why is the iPad still out? Maybe it's the Danish you brought down. Just ate some Danish right before we came on the air. You showed up from work with some baked goods. Did I see some raspberry turnovers or something too?
Yeah.
I didn't take one, but I thought about it.
I already microwaved one.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Did you buy them or were they just in the break room again?
I bought them because I've taken them from Liv before.
Oh, nice. And you had a bit of a score at the local Walmart today because you had, so in our school board, I don't know, maybe all of Ontario, I don't know. But anyways, it was a PD day, which means students don't have school, but teachers do. So your brother got to sleep in, which was great because he's been crazy with school volleyball and real life basketball and whatnot. So
that implies school is not real life.
Sorry, yeah, it's a simulation. So you wandered over to Walmart and
for McDonald's breakfast. Yeah, well, first off, I got a bunch of basics on his birthday because it's only natural that I got more stuff on his birthday than mine.
Of course,
because
that's how you roll.
But because we got Michael Jackson Rollins, Saudi Rollins, Breaker than Evil.
Breaker, because you'd like to spin him around the wrong way.
I just think it's funny that it says Breaker than Evil if I do that.
If you turn his torso.
Kaiser to match Vinci, and then when I went to Walmart this morning, they had the full wave of Elite 111. Can you believe it? I didn't buy Tony D.
You didn't buy Tony. You didn't send a picture of him, I don't think. You sent me
I did.
Everybody
Maybe
else.
I forgot to, yeah.
I don't think of Tony D you did. I could be wrong.
But they had the full wave. It was Tony D, Trish, Sandman, Cody, Ricochet, and one other one.
So a productive day for you.
Who is it? I'll figure it out. But I got Cody and Balor.
Oh, there you go.
From SummerSlam.
Nice.
I got Cody because I had the gear on him, and I needed another Cody an elite Cody that's not the torn pec one. That's the only elite Cody I have since his return. And then Ricochet's nice because I wanted a double joint arm Ricochet, and that'll be his last one too. So.
That's right. He is gone. Well, I mean, unless he comes back again, circles back around.
Yeah.
So I spent my day doing. A lot of people will know it's called compliance training, and so I've been in my job for 22 years and have done some version of compliance training every year for 22 years. That a lot of it is either very similar or exactly the same. So think of how engaging that is. 3 hours of stuff you've seen for 20 plus years.
She's going in the bookshelf.
It was pretty fun. Oh, we've got a spot down there for her, so we'll see if she goes. So yeah, that was my day, but then I got the afternoon to sort of organize stuff and do things that I wanted to do. Morning was spent watching mandatory videos. Afternoon was a little bit better.
I've done them before too, but watch is a very loose term.
And went to Yala for lunch.
What?
I know. Sorry. It's the best shawarma place in town by far. But everybody in my department, plus your mother, decided we were going to have Yala today. Sorry. I know. You're mad. What did you do for lunch? I don't even know.
We didn't have lunch.
You didn't have lunch? What'd you have for dinner?
I had breakfast, and then I had a grilled cheese before I went to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of skipped the lunch part.
I also I had to go get a haircut, fresh haircut, not wearing a hat today if you're watching on video.
I need one, actually.
But anyways, went to the new sports store in the next town over where I get my haircut, and it's pretty crazy. It's a very much a discount. It used to be in the back of a warehouse that I don't think you ever went with me in the industrial part of the town. And you would literally go in the back of this warehouse and they would hand you a big, almost garbage bag. So you felt like you were almost committing a crime or something by going into this place. But it's all super discounted stuff. It's a legitimate store. So they have a actual storefront now. And I bought a whole bunch of white t-shirts because I needed a bunch of white t-shirts.
As you do.
Super cheap. And these pink shoes I bought for pickleball. Because I found out outdoor pickleball shred shoes. So if I can get decent shoes, even if they're
don't care about
an ugly color, but they're going to be fine for outdoor. So I bought them. Just breaking them in right now. But that was my excitement today. Anything exciting for you this week? Since last we talked?
I guess just that.
Just getting that stuff and then another week of school that you loved. but it was only 4 days, so that's not bad.
Oh, wasn't it? Was this the?
Was
No? Was it last Wednesday when I was at home? Right.
Yeah, when you didn't go to school. I don't know if we talked about it on here.
I don't know if we did.
I can't remember.
That's why I was like, I can't remember. It was no, it wasn't this week.
So you had a 4-day week last week and this week, but for very different reasons.
That is very true.
One was the school went into lockdown right before the school day started, so almost nobody went to school that day for reasons I won't get into, but if you know what a lockdown means, then there was obviously something going on that required it.
I feel like
to
we
be
did.
done.
I don't think we mentioned it, but I can't remember.
No, I don't think we did. But anyways, I say we get into talking about some wrestling. We've done our banter that some people tune in to hear. I didn't mention there's timestamps you could have skipped at any point, but that doesn't do you any good now.
Because if we don't,
we got you all the way through the banter.
If we don't tell you about the timestamps, they don't exist.
That's right. And then you listen to us banter and you fall in love with us and you tell 20 people you know to listen to us. And then that snowballs, if that's the right term. And before we know it,
I think that's how
we're
it works.
freaking bigger than Joe Rogan.
We're Joe Rogan's like little brother.
He's like the biggest podcast in the world, I think, probably still. No, we're coming for you, Joe Rogan. Anyways, let's get into talking about some wrestling. It is our first segment every week. It's wrestling news and rumors. Okay, so ratings. NXT this week averaged 620,000 viewers, down 8.4%, and a 0.19 in the key demographic, down 9.5. Punk was on the show, not, I don't think live, I think just segments, but I mean, shouldn't he be enough to just spike a rating, even his mere presence in any form?
Well, you know how every fan in the world hates him, so maybe not.
That's right, he is a victim. But it would be like, if there's a spike, it's because of him, and if it drops, then it just...
everyone hates him, or they're watching in spite of him.
Yes,
or something like that.
Dynamite averaged 702,000 viewers, up 2.2, earned a 0.23, up 4.6. So cool to say that WNBA has risen to a point where like it's competition. So it went head to head with a Caitlin Clark game. So good for the WNBA, like popping good ratings because it's been there's like
Did they clock a milli?
There's been, I don't know, there's been 2 hot rookies in the WNBA to sort of elevate the whole league. It's cool. It's good to see. Anyways, news. I don't have a ton. You said you have
start with something boring, but probably my favorite thing of the week. It's just something for SmackDown next week. There's going to be a triple threat ladder match for the tag titles, which will be Bloodline versus DIY versus Street Profits. A, that sounds good and I'll watch it. B, just the mere thought of Tonga Loa being in a ladder match brings me so much joy.
With Gargano.
Just the thought of Camacho, how much he can botch in a ladder match, which just is so funny.
It will be amazing. So many things could go wrong, and they probably all will. Is that her meowing?
Where is she?
I don't know where she went. What else do I have? According to, this is from the bad news department, would be Saraya apparently has signed a new 1-year deal with AEW. And
I don't want it.
And apparently a lot of positive reaction to Saraya's match with Jamie Hayter that would be airing today, I guess, from Collision. So...
You mean the Saraya's rules, Matt?
Only makes sense to me if...
No, I'm sorry.
She's making her debut here. Only makes sense to me if they like get a massive discount, because now at least they know what they have, right?
Especially like reaction popularity-wise.
When they brought her in, I think they thought they had something, and they've now realized they probably don't. So if the contract reflects that, then I guess that's fine. But I don't need her to stay in any capacity.
We're going to play a new game. It's going to see how many stories can I get through before the cat wants out.
Yep.
This one I'm actually kind of pleased with, and you'll like too, is because it's kind of a twofer, I guess. But the Viking Raiders I guess there's talks of them coming back, and they're also reportedly to be brought back under the War Raiders name.
I heard there was a tease of it must have been on SmackDown?
Raw, I would think. That's where they've been last.
Oh,
and I have no reason to believe that nothing changed.
I eventually watched all of Raw, which wasn't easy, I'll get into.
It might have been something you missed, yeah. But I like them going back to their name. If they went to Rowan Hansen as well, that'd be nice, just because...
What did I hear?
Their name change was so dumb. Remember when they were the Viking Experience?
Yes. But it was written in some other way, and the translation of it is war, so that's why people are suspicious. Wow.
It was like Viking speak,
This new camera looks really blurry. It looked okay in the first segment, and now not so much. So I apologize, people, but anyways, what can you do? What else do I have? Did you hear RVD news? What he's trying to start?
There's RVD news in
He
this
wants.
day and age.
He is starting. I guess I don't even think wants to is correct. He is starting or has started. It's called Only Wrestling. So it is quote a worldwide hub for all things pro wrestling and the ultimate destination for passionate wrestling fans.
That sounds like a bunch of generic jargon that's like...
The first ever platform where fans can engage directly with their favorite wrestlers, promotions, podcasts, and more.
Seems not.
Fans have the opportunity to get involved in the wrestling industry like never before. Plus, get the latest wrestling news, vote on rankings, and much more.
Can't imagine that lasts long.
It sounds amazing. It's like, we're going to just say it's everything possible and hope that something, you know what I mean? It's literally a website of everything. So, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. It's RVD's brainchild. So,
Get rich quick?
yeah. No, I don't think so. We'll see. Interesting idea, we'll say.
So Lucha Bros are still under contract with AEW. Penta's deal said to be up in 2 months, and he hasn't actually negotiated anything, but like they've made enough offer to,
Where there's smoke,
or
there's fire.
enough interest to where he's gonna leave.
Right.
But AEW is adding injury time to Phoenix's deal, which is said to be nearly a year. So they're not going over anytime soon.
Oh, they are, eh? The injury thing they're doing. I didn't think they would. But
no offense to Phoenix. If Penta's not there, I don't care.
yeah, it's going to be harder road for him for sure.
Well, and I feel like
Penta's
Death Triangle
there.
kind of died now because of
Pax
the
moved
assumption
on.
was they're leaving. And yeah, Pax and something, dare I say, better.
Although adding Penta to that group would be fun too. Just let Penta go.
Penta's the one who won't have injury time. Penta's the one that's gone, if anything.
Let him go evil. That's
if anything,
true.
we're just with Phoenix.
That's true. Anyways, only other thing I have, I put it in news because I hadn't watched TNA, although we just watched it 2 seconds ago.
Just watched a bit, yeah.
Xia Li, new name Lei Ying Li.
Yeah, I was confused because I either didn't know or forgot she was released. So I was like, why'd they change her name? But
Yeah,
like, it makes sense if she's just a TNA.
Yeah, I think she's TNA
Yeah.
signed. She defeated Hyen. I don't know who that was.
I had no idea.
With Thunderstruck, which is what they're calling her, like, tornado
Lame.
kick thing. So anyways, I don't know. Though she looked fine, as we would say on the show.
I really didn't pay attention, honestly.
It was, so I watched a bit of TNA. I'll talk about that later. That's all I had for news.
So kind of on the back of the one I just talked about, is that WWE are interested in bringing Malachi Black back as his contract expires early next year.
To do what?
Hopefully not.
Sit in a dark room and...
What was
Remember
it?
that gimmick?
What was it? It was like...
Who's going to knock on my door?
Yeah,
Wow,
but like...
it's so bad I
He
remembered
said it
it.
a certain way that was really funny, though. He just kept going like,
That's a detail for you.
He was like itching for someone to knock at, or like, he just kept talking about someone knocking at his door. It was really funny.
Yeah.
It did result in that feud with Buddy Murphy, though. It was pretty awesome.
True.
But I don't know. I could see it working a little better with Triple H. I like him where he is. I like House of Black, but I don't know.
He can't really seem to get traction anywhere, even though
he's sick.
they start. He's
In
good.
NXT, he did. He was
did.
pretty good in NXT. But then again, who wasn't?
Right.
The answer,
Baron Corbin.
Karrion Kross.
Never won the
Well,
championship.
he did stuff.
Lexus
though.
King.
Lars Sullivan. He was okay, but like he didn't.
Redacted.
He didn't. Yeah. Oh no, he just said stuff though.
Well, it's pretty
Still,
pretty
but, like,
awful stuff, I believe.
Then AEW are attempting to re-sign him. Then they could also add injury time.
This is the theme this week is injury time.
Pretty much.
Sounds like it.
Then the last one I had is SummerSlam 2025 to take place at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. That's super relevant to us. More to the point is that it will be the first 2-night SummerSlam next year.
Ugh, of course.
Which, so like, I don't really care because it's kind of worked out for Mania. It does make Mania marginally more enjoyable.
Yeah,
But to me, also, SummerSlam just doesn't have the same pomp and circumstance that WrestleMania has.
it doesn't.
So it doesn't feel like, because there's really none of their shows are like Mania. So it doesn't feel like something that needs to like. It just feels odd. You know
If
what I mean?
anything, you should do Royal Rumble where one night is just the Rumble and you drag it out an extra bit or whatever. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
or you could even argue you do one card Women's Rumble, one card
Sure.
Men's Rumble.
Okay, that'd
Either
be cool.
or,
actually.
right? That
Because
could
Royal
work.
Rumble feels more important than SummerSlam, like way more.
Absolutely, because SummerSlam's like
An afterthought.
a mini Mania in the summer.
It's
but
not
like,
quite Survivor Series. They think that's how they want to market it, right? It's basically our summer.
SummerSlam
Mania.
is big. It's just it's not Mania, so it doesn't
No.
feel like something that needs to be 2 nights for me. The Rumble, I actually do kind of like that idea.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, you either do one night that's the Rumbles and one night, but I feel like they'd be more likely to split them. So then it's like
Yeah,
you're not putting all your eggs in one basket kind of deal.
those would be the main events each night.
Yeah, instead of like kind of having to choose.
Yeah.
Or like instead of having, even like bookending them, which is a decent way to
And
go.
that's a guaranteed hour basically for each show, because that's about how long they are generally.
Yeah, then you could do like maybe like since they'd like to keep it smaller now, you could do 3 matches.
Yeah. Get
per
that 2
card.
hours, 2 nights,
Then-
2 hours each.
Then you'd have 6 matches
Fine.
total, like they kind of do on one show, and then it would be 2 rumbles.
They'd never go 2 hours, 2.5, maybe.
Mm.
But anyways, we're all good ideas. You can have those, WWE.
That is all.
Give us credit. That's all. Say it was us. Anyways, that's going to do it for news and such, and we'll get into our
News and
most
such.
in-depth review every week. It's where we break down this week's AEW Dynamite. All right, we're ready to talk about Dynamite. Quick switch back to the other camera and a little bit of frustration there in the video production. I think this camera looks better. If anyone has an opinion, let us know. So go ahead. We had some trouble watching wrestling in general this week.
You wanna are we talking about that now?
You want me to rant now?
It's up to you.
It affected Dynamite too, right?
I mean, it depends when you want to do it.
So I'm going to leave names out of this, but we switched our television provider. I want to say cable provider, but I guess that's not really the case anymore because it's all internet. It's not cable. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
People of my
whatever you
generation
want to call it.
know what I mean. It does save us a lot of money, and the internet is technically better. However,
can we keep it so that we'd have them for internet, and then
I don't know. The TV watching experience is terrible.
Recording stuff in general is like.
So
I feel like the pay-per-views have been easier because we could record it and buy it,
Right.
so it's like we kind of keep it for a bit.
It sometimes glitches out, right? And we can't watch it, and then we had to restart the box usually.
We also have like 1,500 channels we can't use.
But this time restarting the box, it just disappeared. The shows we were trying to watch when we were having trouble just disappeared. So anyways.
Would you say pretty much everyone you tried to watch this week?
Raw and I think NXT was okay, but it recorded later than anticipated. So yeah, it was.
But that's regular.
And Raw was hard to find through other techniques and ways up until I basically finished watching it while you were at work tonight. So we're recording this on Friday to put out Saturday. What, the 27th? I think is tomorrow.
27th is today.
28th then. And it took me a while to find the first chunk of Raw for some reason. Anyways, I got it done. So talk about Dynamite. I can't stand my cable provider, but what can you do?
So we kick off with Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness. Nigel comes out. Danielson's music hits. He doesn't come out. Nigel grabs the mic, says Danielson dropped the ball. He wants the 10 count. He calls him a coward, and Danielson should be stripped of the title. The countdown begins. Before the ref can finish, the final countdown plays. It is worth noting the first time we got Danielson's regular theme, and then this time we get the final countdown.
Right. And this was exactly as I'd heard predicted on some places.
Wasn't it?
I think it was
Smart Wrestling?
I think it was Smart Wrestling Fan. Yeah. I think it was Joe Negron. Give him credit.
Joe Negron.
He was basically called this whole thing.
Since I know he'll totally listen to it, I love and miss TLDR.
TLDR, oh yeah.
TLDR was the best. I would still watch that.
That was incredible. If you didn't see it, it's probably still available on YouTube.
It's still there for sure. It's just
Joe
like
Negron
wildly out of date now.
With as many figures as he could, and if not,
or
he made
cardboard
his own
cutouts. I always
cutouts,
love that.
Would reenact Raw, but like super fast with figures. It was just really fun.
It was the best.
It was really fun.
I miss it. I get it's probably hard to do, but I love it.
I
loved it dearly
for the time he put into it versus
for sure
how much money he didn't make.
I blame the public for not loving it enough.
Yeah, it was funny stuff
because that was my favorite. Anyways, some holds and counters early on, just some basic stuff, but it was all right. Nigel tries to put Danielson in the bell lock. Danielson counters out into it, the hold himself. Nigel's able to get to the ropes, and I do usually like doing the last names, but I'll be damned if I'm typing out Danielson and McGuinness every time. Danielson I can do because at least it's just like I don't know. McGuinness, it's like there's too many. Well, I guess it's only the N and the S, but still, it's just like all the.
I'm not doing it either.
The amount of letters and then also the double letters. It's just like it's a type of waiting to happen.
Mine was Nigel every time. I'm just looking at my notes.
Mine was for sure
all Nigels,
no doubt. Danielson escapes a Tower London attempt, connects with the Psycho knee, but he can't capitalize on the pin as Nigel is targeting the forearm he broke in the Okada match.
He sure was,
which has a steel plate.
That's right.
Yes kicks in a roundhouse from Danielson for 2. Nigel blocks the comeback routine from Danielson. It's a rebound layer for a 1 count, which I guess is a signature of his. I don't know.
I don't
Danielson
remember.
hypes back up. I poke ripcord layer from Nigel for 2.
And they point out, like, in his prime, he was known for having, like, the best layer. They were pretty...
They're
He gets
solid.
a nice smack out of them, for
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
Tower London from Nigel for 2. That one was pretty cool.
And the way he transitioned into
yeah,
it, right?
like reverse front face lock and then like listen.
That looked... I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. And like once he got him in position, he dropped him pretty quick. There
He
wasn't
did.
a lot of delay there, so
Yeah.
that was pretty good. London Dungeon, which is Nigel's submission, gets locked in, but Danielson gets out, fights back with hammer and amble elbows, and the finish comes when Danielson submits Nigel with a little bell lock, and you see him saying thank you before he taps.
I thought that was really
cool touch.
Yeah.
Post match, Christian Cage comes out with his contract. He's about to sign in. Kip Sabian yoinks his pen and runs off. Christian chases in the back, and then he kind of has like a standoff with Pac and Claudio for a second. Is interesting.
So let's talk about the last part first. What's going on with Sabian, you
I
think?
don't know.
And are you interested?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Kip Sabian.
You do. You
But-
can go back to AEW starting, and you were on Kip Sabian's bandwagon right away.
I don't even remember why. I just know I loved his theme song, and like I think he was pretty good in the ring. Like,
Has
he's pretty
Penelope been around lately?
solid. No,
Is she still under contract?
she's still there, but I don't know if I don't know if she's like injured, injury time.
I still think
Or,
Sabian
like,
ends
injured.
up in the Patriarchy.
I guess, but like
I don't know how he gets
A
there.
Y B how C Y again.
It was kind of a silly thing because obviously, if Christian really wants that, he can just get another pen from somewhere. But anyways, we'll see where. Anyways,
I just don't understand why Sabian has a feud with them. Like, because it was just like not even the other week when he
is he doing anything
was
on?
watching their segment. I just don't know why. Because this is remember this there was like the Nick Wayne promo like a month back or so, and this
Yeah.
was a thing still. Like I don't understand.
Is there anything going on Rampage or Collision that we're not aware of?
I think they had a match, but like that was after this started. Like I don't know where this stemmed from.
Yeah.
I can't even blame it on Dark.
No, I guess we'll
Or
hopefully figure it out,
ROH,
and
like, I don't
hopefully
know.
it's interesting. Match wise, thought it was really good. Not
I thought it was pretty good.
not a breakneck pace, and I don't think Nigel was ready for that.
I don't think it was
but-
ever going to be.
But I think clearly they have good chemistry, and they can kind of pull it off with the targeting of the arm, right? That's going to slow things
Yeah.
down. And it puts Daniels in that underdog resilience role that he's so good at. Even though he's the champion, he's still like, you're rooting for him because he's the underdog in some strange way. So it got a lot of time, and you could definitely see Nigel was huffing and puffing here and there, right? But I thought he looked good, and Danielson's like the perfect wrestler if you're in Nigel's position, right? Like, you're coming back after years of not
Mhm.
wrestling. You just need to have
Yeah.
this one really strong, unless he does more. I don't know.
I can't imagine. I feel like this was the
It
point.
did feel like it. And the thank you was super awesome. I like that at the end.
I feel like this was the point.
I wish
of
I'd
the
noticed
comeback.
it without them pointing it out, but I didn't until they said
I had already seen it pointed out on social media, so I would have known either
something. Very
way.
cool touch. And it might have just been like a sincere moment, although they went out of their way to say it. So it was probably scripted.
I feel like it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what
I
are
thought
your
it was
thoughts?
pretty good. Not the best match by any means, but I thought it was good for what I expected and what it was supposed to be.
I
'Cause
liked it more than
obviously,
you, I
like,
think.
he wasn't always pitch perfect, but Nigel I think was pretty solid first singles match in over a decade, and he held his own. Like
He did, for
not
sure.
everything was perfect, and he did show the rust a little bit, but at the same time, he hit his signature stuff well, and he did like the simple arm targeting well, so that kind of helped him like kind of work along.
Yeah.
Danielson's of course a great opponent to work off of, like you were saying, and he know to help Nigel make this good. Nigel saying thank you for the tap was a nice touch and felt akin to the Shawn Michaels Flair match.
hmm There was
Like
a little
the
bit
I'm
of that.
sorry, I love you kind of thing.
Right.
It was a nice way for him to go out, and I'm happy for him that this got to happen because it's just cool for him to like, and it's kind of like going out on your own terms kind of thing.
Even though we're not
that Edge and Danielson have gotten to do.
right, even though we're not huge Nigel fans, we can still understand.
I've literally
like,
okay, including All In. This is the second match I've ever seen from him.
and so, but still, we're like, we know this is important to him and super cool for him. So I'm
sure.
happy for him too.
So,
yeah,
good for him for getting
I
that
quite
done.
liked the match. I thought it was a good opener.
I thought it was good.
And then it's a pay per view because it's like
It was, which I'm not complaining about, and I'll talk about that later.
I feel like your recap will be quick because there's not a lot of segments for us to analyze. It's just matches, right? So pretty much.
How long
anyways.
did he check in nuggets? And he did write check in as he misspelled it.
Air fried nuggets? I would go.
It's on this. Does he not have like
the Google Doc. He has access
I
to
have
the Google
the-
document.
I have the app on my phone, so maybe that's just he doesn't have that. But my
Anyways,
brother wants chicken nuggets.
you
for
can tell him
context.
I would go 10 minutes.
Okay,
Flipping once.
10 minutes flipping once.
Air fryer tips with FNS Wrestling. I believe I could sell air
We-
fryers door to door.
I think
to
we
people
should
that don't
start
have
a
them.
cooking show here, and it's purely the air fryer cooking.
I won't tout any specific brand unless they want to sponsor us. But if you don't have
Just
an
a
air fryer
general
yet,
air fryer plug.
so in fact, I don't have my phone with me, but there's a text from Stit because I basically hyped up air fryers so much the second last time I saw him that the last time I saw him, he bought an air fryer and was asking me what's good. And I told him a bunch of things. So he sent me a picture.
Taquitos. I love me some taquitos.
So he sent a picture that said, finally got them. And it was the TGI Fridays potato skins from Costco.
Oh, that's the stuff.
And so then he said, how long do I cook them? And I sent him screenshots of my Google Doc. And he was like, I knew it. He said he told his wife, watch how fast he replies with information on how long to heat stuff. So he's got my Google Doc to check. Anyways, air fryer talk is over. Go ahead.
Okay,
I forget what you were doing.
We were talking about how it's like kind of a breakneck pace because of the
match
pay-per-view like structure, yeah. Which I'm not complaining about, and I said I'll talk about that later when it comes up in my thoughts.
Yep.
But it did kind of have a different feel, and it did kind of make it feel big. 'Cause it's like they did pack it with matches, but then they kind of made up for that by not stuffing it with segments too. And I feel, based on what I've seen with the Collision card, that looks pretty packed too. Actually, like I might pull that. It's still a digression, but I do want to pull it up quick.
And if I could digress, well, I guess it's not. It's on topic, sort of. NXT was kind of the opposite, where they were really trying to do a lot of segments because they're off the
right, because it's and
then the matches
they're milking
were
that for everything it's worth.
The matches were short and generic for the most part, so kind of the opposite.
So like for Collision, we have Trios titles, which is the Pack Pool Combat Club against Private Party and Commander. Tornadoes Trios, which is Learning Tree against Conglomeration.
Gross.
Jarrett Hangman and Lumberjack strap match. Okada Guevara Continental Eliminator. The aforementioned Saraya Jamie Hayter match under Saraya's rules. Perry has the TNT Open Challenge. And we have a Lucha 3-way, which is Mordo's Hologram and Dralistico coming from the dead.
That'll be fun.
But that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So there'll be no segments there.
7 matches. That's what I'm saying, right? So I feel like it'll be similar, which is not a bad thing. Just worth noting.
Once in a while, like I couldn't do it every week, but for sure.
No, but like for these specials, it's not a bad way to go. Because especially now that they do less of the TV specials. Like if they did this for Winter's Coming, then Winter's Coming is always gonna be special for me. Just because I remember that being like when Moxley lost his title. No, that's not. No, that's when Omega won the title, and so that was a big.
Right.
It is ironically the same show, but I'm surprised you remember that. That's not only Winter's Coming, but the same show.
It's because the memory burn of like the snow.
Like, that's true.
Honestly,
that is fair.
You think of his debut, you think of the snow.
And the Winter's Coming. Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
Isn't Winter's Coming? It's like a Game of Thrones reference or something, right? It's either that or like Lord
I
of
have
the
no
Rings.
idea.
It's one of those two. I want to say Game of Thrones because that feels more topical than Lord of the Rings.
I believe you.
Anywho, somehow we ended
What
up
were we
there.
talking about?
Like it was how there's all matches on this show. Anyways, next it's Hook versus Roderick Strong for the FTW title. I thought a really funny bit in Roddy's entrance was since Hook's like doing the thing where he's like leaning in the corner, Taven kind of gets bitched out. So instead of sitting in the corner, he's standing on the ropes.
Yeah.
And so it's like Hook's not even like letting him have the spot to do his entrance. He's just like, no. So I think that was funny.
It was.
Kind of made Kingdom look stupid, which I thought was
always
funny.
appreciate.
Which is kind of funny.
Winter is Coming, I believe, is the name of the first episode of Game of Thrones.
That makes sense.
My research indicates.
I knew it was something like that.
Carry on.
Billy was telling me I should watch that, and he said he'd loan me the DVD, but loan me the
Your mom watched
Joker.
I can't do it.
I just heard
I
like
tried.
it was really good, but then it kind of fell off real hard.
That's usually the case.
That sounds more like How I Met Your Mother than anything else. Because man, was that like it was enjoyable,
but
then the last season, like it's honestly ended so badly. I don't think I ever want to watch the show again, even though I did enjoy it a lot.
I enjoyed certain episodes and arcs, I guess, but not everything.
I got mad every time he went with Robin, and also the entire last season.
I just started to dislike Lily a lot.
That's true, because they're all like horrible.
She's just in everyone's business.
Except Barney. I love Barney because he's just like, well, he's like Schmidt.
Anyways,
I love Schmidt.
We don't want to talk about Dynamite. It's like we're doing whatever.
It's weird.
We can
No,
to
I do
avoid
though. It's like
I
it's just I love Schmidt though. Anyways, Hook versus Roddy.
Schmidt on your face.
Secretary is just peak humor. No, that was it because it was Mambulance and then Secretary. That's what it was. There was some other funny one, but anyways, there's a kendo stick Russian leg sweep into the barricade from Hook, then suplexes for both Kingdom guys.
Looked like Roddy, I thought, hit like the back of his head on the top of the barricade, which aren't the super padded WWE.
They do have a bit of padding on, but it's always like loose. Like remember Ospreay always takes it off to like do the forearm off of there. Yeah. Corner knee and belly back face from Roddy for 2. Overhead throw onto some seated chairs from Hook for 2. Fireman's carry gutbuster on a seated chair and then a sick kick from Roddy for 2. Hook counters the end of Heartache and submits Roddy in the red rum. Surprisingly, they shake hands after the match, which I thought was odd.
Yeah, it was.
Babyface turns, then Cole can fight MJF.
Yes.
Grand Slam marks the year since Cole shattered his ankle.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
It is. That's been a long time.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, hopefully this doesn't hurt him because I feel like someone like Pac has been hurt by a lot of injuries in his run.
Well, definitely halted his momentum on a
for sure.
giant story they were trying to tell.
But with Cole, it's like this is the second injury that's had him out for over a year.
Right. He ain't getting any younger.
Yeah, for sure. But he's Adam Cole, so it's okay. Hook gets interviewed by Shivani, something SCW title near there. Gonna retire it.
Yeah, title's gone. One down. Few to go in AEW.
Well, this is the fake one, so
it is. It's not really exist anyways. I thought match was fine.
Figment of your imagination.
Each guy took a nice spot onto chairs, but like nothing special. I don't love Roddy losing to Hook because I love Roddy, but it's not exactly a surprise.
I figured.
Promo wise, it felt like that was like Hook's actual voice and kind of like him less in character than sometimes.
Yeah, it felt more natural for
And I think it's a good idea to retire the belt because it doesn't exist. There's tons of belts. And
remember that one time Taz stood in the ring? He's like, I'm not leaving till they sanction it, and then that didn't happen. I think that might have been that time he put the Taz mission on Cody.
Oh, yeah. Nice. I think the point of the belt was to legitimize Hook, so maybe they're like, he's legit, so we don't need it now.
I don't think they really did that because it felt just kind of like...
I think they did. I don't know if they did.
I think, again, I keep coming back to it, Samoa Joe legitimized Hook.
Yeah.
And it just kind of became Hook's prop.
I miss Samoa Joe. Miss you, Samoa Joe. I know you're listening.
Well, he's horribly hurt.
That's right.
He went through a wall.
What a forklift spot that was. When you think about all the stuff that they do that's so violent, and then...
That's why people are mad about AEW being unsafe, is because people get driven through walls willy-nilly.
And just to keep on this road of getting off topic, I texted you while you were at work.
The snake bite?
I was watching the Savage snake bite.
Which I think didn't...
considering the time, it's pretty graphic.
I'm pretty sure Jake also got bit like before they actually did it, like just so that Savage would do it, kind of thing.
Like a literal snake is biting his
They like
arm.
Either defanged it or devenomized it,
for
but
sure.
Like,
it was devenomed, but it still looked crazy. And
to a full venom bite on TV.
Well, that's what they sold it as.
Well, yeah, but like...
You should have recovered by now. I don't think that snake's been devenomed.
But
just watched it.
Just like actually just like shoot snake bite.
Yeah, it's a method. Macho Man's like, I'm a method actor. Bring on I've been slowly introducing trace amounts of snake venom into my system for years to build to this moment.
Preparation for this moment. Back in the territory days, he would just be like injecting trace amounts of venom after a show.
Exactly.
Or actually, no, he would do it before the show so that he was prepared to wrestle with snake venom in his veins.
But they're like cutting to kids in the crowd, and even whatever I was watching, they were showing the replay of it, and they like warned people 1,000 times, if you are squeamish or if you are whatever, you're not going to want to watch this.
But we can't show a guy getting suffocated with a bag.
Right.
People became so soft.
Oh, how far we've come. Anyway, sorry, back to the show we're talking about.
By step bag suffocations and needle injections in your cheek. But no, this was a solid match. It felt kind of short for me, so probably not as good as the opener, but it was all right. It was good. They just could have done more.
Nowhere near as good as the opener for me.
For sure. Roddy had some killer stuff with the chairs, and the finish came kind of suddenly. That was part of it for me. It kind of felt like an anticlimactic finish.
They're protecting that red rum, I think. I
mean the Kata Hajime.
That's right.
Yeah. Hook retiring the SCW title was surprising, but welcome. It's time. It doesn't serve much of a purpose, and it also never really became that pseudo hardcore title we wanted.
True.
Because they kind of did that, but then it kind of, I don't know. It just like didn't reach that potential.
I don't remember being excited for FTW matches really along the way.
We kind of look forward to them, but like that was before Jericho.
Right. Jericho ruins everything currently for us.
I wish we did this before Jericho got it.
It's so weird because there were much of my life where I would say that he is my favorite wrestler of all time.
I'd argue he's my least favorite.
I loved him from the moment
wrestler.
He showed up in WCW and everyone thought he was obnoxious and whatever. I'm like, this guy's great.
And now he is obnoxious.
Now he is. He's come full
He's honestly the worst.
Yeah.
Like, I hate him so much. Then we get the Young Bucks versus Ospreay and Fletcher for the tag titles. We got matching greenish gear and the United Empire Trons for Osprey and Fletcher. Really playing on that here.
Mm-hmm.
Osprey's theme is the one on, of course, but it is the United Empire Trons and
It is.
matching gear.
It is.
That is not unlike that of Aussie Open.
Leaving out Takeshita, you know? Poor boy.
Well, Takesha's too good. He's above United Empire, and some might
Above Osprey, eh?
Yep.
That's a bold statement.
some might even say over everything.
Yeah, some do.
Takesha
Some
over
are toe.
everything. Toe.
Toe.
TOE. I'll make
Embrace
that
the
shirt.
toe.
Toe. I'm not taking my sock off for that, but
No.
just pretend my toe's out. No, you know
What?
Maybe don't. Or you know what?
Maybe don't.
Your choice, people.
Yeah. You do you.
Yeah. Stereo big moonsaults to the outside from Osprey and Fletcher. No corkscrew from Osprey because he's just a useless little boy.
Devoid of athleticism is the term.
Omos.
Oh, he's Omos. He's basically Omos. Omos light.
Then my next note is handspring double Pele kick by Osprey followed by a standing corkscrew moonsault.
A la
for
Omos.
two.
And an homage to Omos, in fact.
Honestly, I feel like he's just Osprey sucks. He's just like Odyssey Jones.
Exactly.
Sorry, am I allowed to mention him anymore? I don't even know.
Redacted.
I don't even know. He's not released though, so like,
isn't he?
He got removed from the roster.
Oh, just been scrubbed from existence, but still has a contract.
He got released from the internet.
That's right, he did.
Super kick in the corner to Osprey by Matt.
Shows only.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dark matches, maybe.
That's right.
Maybe he'll work his way up to dark matches. Matt hits a super kick in the corner to Osprey, followed by the assisted slice spread and a basement knee strike, or AKA just the tip, from Nick for 2. I mean, I feel like we should call it just the tip because,
of course, everything to honor.
And then
Matt Taven.
If instead of it being like an Aguero homage, isn't Aurora Borealis just like a frog splash or something?
I don't remember.
It's something lame, but
you talk about Matt Taven far too much, just to spite me.
I think I honestly kind of enjoy it.
You do, I know.
Because you hate it. I honestly love anytime I get to. I don't remember I think it might have been the trios match last week, and it was Nick Jackson as well. And he did it. I always called just the tip.
Yeah.
Like I just shouted at it. Honestly, it might get to the point where I enjoy that more than shouting
Brock.
I think I enjoy
or
more.
Me with Doomsday.
That's fine. This is how we get each other. The key to every good relationship is to find things that irritate the other person and never stop doing that.
That's right.
That's the key here. Honestly, does Matt Taven? I feel like there's another one that I'm forgetting because
there's lots.
There's like they have the backpack stunner that's like the proton pack. And then, but that's fair because it's like a tag move, so I feel like it needs a name. But like, there's just the tip, Aurora Borealis, and are you googling it?
Yeah. So carry on.
Okay. So with Osprey draped on the top rope, Nick hits a swanton to his back, which sends him right into a sit-up powerbomb for Matt for 2, which looks so cool. It was kind of like the thing they did with Okada last week, and like I was saying, they could easily do it without Okada, and they did here.
They did.
Fletcher broke the pin. Nick absolutely clocks Fletcher with the PK from the apron, which looked awesome. Then he jumps off to hit Osprey with the Hurricane Rana to the floor. TK driver connects with Fletcher on the apron. Stereo Styles clashes from United Empire, and Fletcher pins Matt for a 2 count. Hidden Blade and a Stormbreaker on Matt for a near fall, but Nick breaks the pin. So a couple of nice close ones there. Tony Khan driver gets cut off by a supercar from Osprey to Nick. Then Osprey and Fletcher hit their own TK driver to Matt for a near fall, followed by Coriolis for another near fall. So Matt took a lot there. Turnbuckle brainbuster to Matt from Fletcher. Nick pushes Osprey onto the pin to break that up. That was a really nice one too. Fletcher hits a suicide dive to Nick. While the ref checks on him, Callis hands Fletcher a screwdriver. So Osprey talks Fletcher out of the screwdriver because he's like real close to doing it. Osprey takes a belt shot from Matt. Fletcher rolls up Matt for 2, and then he takes a sneaky belt shot from Nick. Matt rolls him up for a nice near fall as well. Then Fletcher takes a double super kick and an EVP trigger, and the Bucks retain.
Awesome match. I didn't love the finish only because I'll circle back around to more of the match, but like I don't like the screwdriver as a weapon of choice because you can never actually use it. It's like tease. Anyways,
I don't mind it because like Callis used it on Omega, so there's the reason there, and then Osprey also used it on Omega in the greatest wrestling match ever.
It's anyways, I said it while we were watching it, like the Bucks really seem motivated in this, maybe because they're wrestling Osprey, and Fletcher to a lesser degree. No offense, we love Fletcher, but like it's Osprey. So I thought they brought it here, and this was an awesome match. Just like crazy offense from everybody, and like tag team offense.
Yeah,
Not
everyone
much
felt game here.
super talented group, right? So if the Bucks are on, then it's going to be awesome.
And Fletcher and
So,
Osprey, not like a seasoned team, but they were as good as expected, and that's
yeah,
a compliment.
exactly. Finish was a bit lacking for me, but I thought the rest was pretty terrific.
I did like it because like I like that Fletcher got to kick it out of the belt shot. That made him look good, and then
Yes.
it took a couple of things to put him away.
Yeah,
So that worked out. I would have liked maybe a bit more time between the belt shot spot and then the actual finish. It felt like it was like, although I don't mind it because it's like, oh, we couldn't put Fletcher down with that. We gotta hit him real fast, and they kind of
True.
finisher spam him. So I don't hate it. I think I talked myself there. But yeah, Super Strong TV tag. I really enjoyed this from start to finish. Probably my favorite match of the night.
mine for sure.
It's in contention in the main event. I really like the main event too.
I like this better, but yeah.
I definitely liked it better just because it's just more fun. But this was great either way. Osprey and Fletcher were electric together, as expected. Like they were great. Osprey's always on his game. The Bucks fell on their game too, like you said. It all came together beautifully. The action was constant all over the place. A lot of great near falls on both ends.
Yep.
Because and I like when they kind of finisher spammed the Bucks. They hit Bucks finisher and then their finisher. So a couple near falls there, and like just it was nice both ways. Bucks were always going to win, but like I said, near falls were good both ways. I like the finish. It sowed the seeds for more dissension in the Callis family, and maybe even issues between Fletcher and Osprey, because Fletcher's whole thing before the gauntlet was,
Yeah.
I keep coming close and failing and failing and failing, and in a way, Osprey kind of cost him.
He
here.
did.
So Fletcher could easily look at it that
'Cause
way.
in theory, if you use the screwdriver, they win.
Right, and then maybe they kind of like a mini feud or even just another match against each other. And then eventually Fletcher, I feel like, has to turn on Callis and join Osprey, and we do Unite Empire when Davis is back.
And I get the story they're trying to tell, but I just feel like, one, the Callis family hasn't been a cohesive group in a long time to me, and two,
Probably because Trent's not there.
Callis hasn't even felt like a villain lately. He's just been kind of there.
He's just been trying to get them to cheat.
He hasn't been like super evil.
No.
But
other than wanting them cheeks. Didn't he? I swear he tried to get Osprey to cheat. Oh, it was the swerve match.
So it's not super connecting with me, but I get what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I did like how the finish played out, though, and I'm interested to see what they do with this storyline once Osprey's done with Ricochet.
Yep.
Because that's next week.
That's right.
One of two segments is up next. Actually, we'll have two of two after. But it's a conglomeration interview.
Only one of consequence, I would argue.
Yeah. Rocky Romero is in the conglomeration. That's neat.
Because
he's been affiliated with them before, I guess. That's literally it. Like, it doesn't really matter.
I guess. Everyone else is just kind of there for a week. He's in.
Yeah. Briscoe's wearing Mark Briscoe's wearing a Briscoe's shirt because they had their last tag match near here. So that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just to even mention.
He did mention his brother quite a bit in this one.
Nice nod. It was just the usual fired up stuff. Not a lot of notes, as I did borrow from TJR just because I didn't want to type this. And also, how does one type a Mark Briscoe promo?
Right, and my thing was we got to hear Briscoe, but we don't have to see the learning tree in the match because we don't watch Collision, so that works out well.
And if I do watch Collision, I won't watch that one.
No, probably not.
Rocky didn't feel necessary here, but the rest of this was the customarily enjoyable Mark Briscoe jibber jabber. Nice tribute to Jay as well. You can't not enjoy these.
Yep.
Same typical fare. Then we get Prince Nana giving us an update on Swerve Strickland.
Quite the headgear on Nana this week.
Indeed. It was blinged out.
It was.
Nana said, mentally, there's nothing that can stop Swerve, who's the most dangerous man in AEW. He said, physically, though, he's not cleared to come back, but he's fighting hard to do so. Then we get Montel Vontavious Porter walking out. And he says, Swerve is the most dangerous man in AEW, and there's no question about it. He said, Swerve's the most phenomenal athlete in AEW, and he talks about his 8th-month run without being pinned or submitted. He mentioned some of the guys Swerve's beaten recently, and he said he saw Swerve lose the AEW World title, and he saw Swerve lose it All Out. He trashed Nana for being more concerned about selling coffee and dancing around for the people than helping Swerve.
Yep.
And he told Nana when Swerve's ready to be taken seriously again to give him MVP's business card, and he'll be ready to talk business.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued.
I liked a lot of this. I liked Nana even addressing, like, it's only Swerve's body. Like, nobody's gotten to him mentally. The Danielson stuff, the Page stuff, like, he's still mentally strong. It's just his body's failing. And also it helps Danielson look strong that those injuries are sort of piling up and he's taken some time off. And then I kind of forgot about MVP, so I was surprised I forgot that like the rumors were he's there and blah blah blah.
Oh, I didn't hear rumors he was here. I just knew his contract. Him
Right.
and Lashley were
And the
out.
assumption, yeah,
I
that's
assumed they were gonna go to TNA.
and I like it felt kind of old school, like he's coming in just trying to assemble a stable, and he's also echoing some of our sentiments in like he knows that the prime form of Swerve is like evil Swerve Unleashed, and that's what he wants back, right? So I appreciate that too. So
Mhm.
we'll see where it goes. I don't want it to mean Lashley shows up, but MVP
I feel like that's inevitable.
as a heel manager assembling talent is cool to me.
I feel Lashes has to be here soon. That's just
Why?
me picturing them as a package deal. So
Right.
that's just my thought process, but that might not be the case.
And is the line talk business, hurt business reference kind of thing,
Mhm,
right? Is that going too far? Maybe, I don't know.
perhaps.
But
Um,
happy to see MVP.
yeah,
It's cool.
I liked it. I would have expected him to reappear in TNA or something. So, I'm interested. He's a good mouthpiece and manager, so he could be used well. Swerve doesn't need that. Like, I mean, mouthpiece, but MVP could help someone. And him working with Swerve is interesting to me. Like, I
Mhm.
do agree with the notion of the killer Swerve. However, him showing up does imply Lashes is on the way soon. It feels inevitable. Personally, I don't think he needs to be here. We've got a stacked roster, and he doesn't really seem to fit the style.
Mhm.
Seems very WWE TNA guy.
Imagine the heat Swerve could get if he attacks Nana.
That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy. And MVP also feels kind of old school because he's got the cane, so he's got a weapon, right? That he's going to be like Fuji
He's like
kind of deal.
half Heenan, half Cornette or something.
Yeah, it does feel Heenan-y, right? Which is great. Heenan was awesome. The Heenan family was
He's
awesome.
Black Heenan.
Right.
And MVP sounded good there though, and
He
like
did.
him coming in immediately like talking about how great Swerve is and wanting him. This makes Swerve look really good. Just
It
even
does.
not being here.
He's the first guy this big
Right.
guy
Between
this
what you
guy
said, what
wants.
Nana was saying, and then what MVP said, I think it does well to just kind of keep the aura of Swerve while he's away. So I'm interested to see where this goes. A Hurt Business type thing with like Swerve, Lashley, and maybe Shelton would be interesting.
Shelton.
He's floating around.
It's true.
The only one the only one's tied up still is Cedric.
Ah, Sheldon Benjamin.
But I'd rather Swerve and MVP do a new group perhaps. But MVP was cooler though, I thought.
Yep.
On second thought, I would take Shelton. I just don't really need Lashes.
I agree. Shelton Benjamin is one of the most talented wrestlers I saw, probably.
Yeah, so Shelton can still
Just
go.
not a charisma dude, unfortunately.
Which is why you need MVP.
right.
Which is why that faction should have worked.
Which is why Team Angle worked so well too.
That too.
Yeah.
That too. Well, because that was like not only Angle, but wasn't Heyman also involved in that?
Was he at some point?
Wasn't Heyman the one who gave him Team Angle?
I don't remember. I believe you. You're probably right.
Then we go to Mariah May versus Yuka Sakazaki, which I hate saying that because it's just like it does not roll off the tongue. Like I feel like I'm always bound to like mess that up. I feel like I have.
Probably.
For the women's world title, there's a bit of a slap fight early on, running shotgun dropkick at ringside for May. Yuka goes for the merry-go-round. May gets out, headbutt, and a nice German suplex for 2. Side kick in, Northern Lights bomb from Yuka. Finish comes when May gets her knees up on the magical girl splash. Running knee, Storm Zero gets the win. After the match, she goes to attack Yuka. Willow comes down to stop her. Mina Shirakawa's music hits. May attacks Willow off the distraction, and clearly that wasn't Mina's intention.
right, but we're still like
They're still friends.
she trapped in the middle kind of thing. Quick match, right? Decisive win for May. Still using Storm's finisher. Is that
I feel like it's like
that mean it's
kind
not
of
over?
furthering the notion that it's inevitable. That like
right?
the feud's coming.
That's kind of what I took from it too. The crowd didn't really seem into this. I didn't think it was great.
It was fine, but far too short. Like it felt like it should have been given more time, given it was a title match, and it just felt like it shouldn't be a title match.
And why does she have a title shot to begin with? Right?
Yeah. Maybe we move it to Collision since the show is packed, but Collision is too. So I don't even know what I'm saying. Or somehow, like I don't know, we should have made for more time for this somehow, or just like honestly cut it, because I mean, which would mean no women's matches on a show that notoriously does not have women's matches. But still, like it just didn't feel like something that needed to be here, and I would have added more to like the tag match instead.
I am happy if this puts Willow into like the.
I did
upper
like that,
echelon,
yeah. It puts
right?
Willow up in the world title mix a bit, but
And it's still like
we'll
where
see.
does Mina stand? Is she supporting
So yeah,
the heel or not now?
it's something interesting, I
Yep.
guess. Then we come to our main event, which is Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin with the AEW World Title shot at Wrestle Dream on the line. Moxley's first match of the new theme,
That's right.
and first match with the theme in AEW since Forbidden Door when I was there.
I was there as well.
No.
Mhm.
No.
It's true.
No, you fell down the stairs.
No, that wasn't me. He was on the other side of me.
Mox brings Darby down, so he's biting he's got his mouth biting the rope, and then he like kicks up on the rope into his mouth. So he did that a couple times, which looked kind of gnarly.
And then there was blood from
And
that
Darby's
as well.
much blood in his mouth. Which oddly looks like just as if not more gruesome than like the typical Crimson masks. It's just like
It was quite a bit coming
I
out
don't
of his mouth, whether it was real or a capsule or whatever. I don't know.
I guess I don't know, but it would look interesting for sure. Mox hammer throws Darby in the corner, so like he hits off the middle turnbuckle, goes through the ropes, and like clips the steps on the way to hitting the floor.
Looked crazy.
Just
And
only
then the
something
review was like bird's eye, so you could really see him hit the edge of the steps.
just only something Darby does.
Yep.
Because he's
No regard for his own safety.
Egypt. Coffin drop to the outside from Darby. Missile dropkick to the outside from Darby with the Mox seated on a chair. Cobra from Darby for 2 back in the ring. Shotgun dropkick from Mox since Darby hit in the corner. He hit his head on the bottom turnbuckle, which I thought kind of looked cool. Mox and Shafir exposed like a large portion of the floor.
She took it back
side.
like halfway up the ramp.
Yeah, well, that is worth knowing. There really wasn't a long entranceway here.
No.
It was just like on the floor.
Yeah.
And also the Tron was like unusually large.
And someone on commentary made a comment about how strong she was for moving like a bunch of foam mats out of the way. Maybe not.
That feels, I don't know why, but it feels in vein of like she applies a barrack, she's a dentist.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know, it just feels like something dumb like that. Darby misses a tope dive and splats back first on the exposed floor. It's just the thud and like you can see how it doesn't give whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's just like
He's crazy.
And then Mox follows up with an X-Plex on the stairs because just Darby's an idiot. I don't know what he does, why he does.
Why are you the way that you
I loved the dueling "You can't kill him, yes he can" chants.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Mox goes face first in the exposed turnbuckle that Darby had put earlier. Darby rolls him up for 2. Mox catches Darby out of a coffin drop, attempting a sleeper hold, which is a reference to one of the early matches, I think. Like, I swear we've seen it before. But I do love it. It's just a clean counter. Mox shifts into the Bulldog choke. Darby grits his teeth. And you see, like, him spitting out, like, bloody saliva. And he gets to the ropes. Darby goes for a superplex, gets distracted by Shafir up on the apron. I feel like I'm typing that more, so she might have earned her way out of the condescending nickname.
Wow, good for her.
I do still
You're
like
welcome.
doing that, but like I feel like it was always
She's listening too.
in a condescending manner, so she might have earned it.
Right.
Honestly, I don't know. I do have her on the best of in like the non-wrestler role with a question mark, which is usually a gateway.
Even a nominee is.
For us, that's like a gateway into just putting them on the document full tilt. But that's like something we'll review in December.
Correct.
But anyway, so Darby's distracted by her on the apron. She gets down, but this gives Mox the opening to counter superplex into a super Death Rider to pick up the win. Then after the match, Danielson comes out, and in a really nice callback, he chokes Mox with just a tie.
Yes, got him fired from WWE, right?
Yeah. Before he just
was it Cole he choked out?
Justin Roberts.
Funny enough,
the guy who is in this company as well. Shafir's choking Danielson while he's doing that, so that was cool. This is all going down until Claudio and Pac run down to attack Danielson. Commander and Private Party run down to even the odds, and it is worth noting Yuta is absent during all this. Danielson charges up for the Psycho knee, but Mox gets pulled out by Claudio and Pac. Danielson speaks a little. He says Mox wanted war, so he's declaring war. He says Mox wants a shot at the title, and he has that Wrestle Dream, and he'll kick Mox's head in.
He used a bad word.
Censorship also.
Yeah. Really good match. Finish came out of nowhere, which I thought made it kind of dramatic, right?
But I did like that.
I liked it.
It didn't feel as anticlimactic as the one in the FTW match.
And it takes an Avalanche version of an already devastating move to stop Darby.
Yeah.
Darby's a maniac. We know that. And Mox is a great opponent for him to like.
I find they have a really weird chemistry. Them. Like, because this is the third match, I think, between them. All on TV.
Good physical main event. We had stakes attached to it. It is disappointing that Darby has to lose his contendership.
So I did kind of have a thought with that, and I guess I'll talk about it after I talk about the match. But
yeah, it's the Mox Danielson match is the big one, right?
Money.
And then my thought, and I don't know if yours is the same, is that Darby could be the guy to circle back around and beat Moxley.
That's what I was gonna say.
And that would be his.
The whole story is that he takes an ass beating
every time he faces him,
and like he won't stay down. But then Mox eventually finds a way to put him down, and then the story can be he finally gets Mox when the titles on the line.
Yes.
And I think that would also make Darby the first Triple Crown champion because
So are you saying Mox beats Danielson then?
I think so.
Yeah?
I
Danielson's
feel like
done?
Mox being Danielson just makes sense.
It does, but it seems like a short run for Danielson.
But
That's
he's
all.
also gonna have surgery soon anyway, so he
True.
might. I feel like it's worth just calling it short
Yeah.
because like I don't know, it just seems to make sense for me. And then Darby would be the first Triple Crown because I think with WWE their Triple Crown is like the first 3 titles they introduced, right? So it's
Mhm.
World Tag and Intercontinental. So their Intercontinental equivalent, just timeline wise, is the TNT title.
Yes.
So Darby's already got those two, and if I think that'd be cool for him as a pillar
Yeah.
to be like the first Triple Crown
And to beat the like
and to beat
franchise guy.
Moxley.
Yeah.
Moxley, that would be his 4th world title. But hey, when you need someone to go to, you go to Moxley.
That's your Ric Flair. That's your Hulk Hogan.
You rock
Except all the
You're
racist, evil, awful parts.
so far.
So far, correct.
He's your Cena.
He married a Canadian. He's a good dude.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, so I really enjoy this. Another great effort between these two. They just have an odd chemistry that's fun to watch in a different way from the tag match.
Hey, I
sure.
like to get beaten up on TV. Hey, I like to beat people up on TV. Let's
Is
go.
it weird? I don't know why I remember this now. I feel like Mox hasn't bled in forever.
It's been a while.
Like the last thing
He
I
used
remember,
to like walk out and bleed, basically, like make his
been
entrance.
a running joke,
bleed.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like the last thing I think a match where I saw him bleeding that I remember was when he won the IWGP title, but that wasn't even an AEW match. So,
Doesn't
anyways, like what I remember from the earlier matches, Mox just beats the tar to Darby for the most part. Darby gets some spirited flurries of offense and looks resilient, staying in longer than he should, but then he gets put down with something a little
Big.
excessive.
Yeah.
The dive spot on the floor, followed by the X-Pac on the stairs, was pretty nasty. Super Death Rider was sick as well. And Darby still comes out as looking good, and I do kind of hope that we get Darby being Mox for the title. I feel like that would be a cool. That if Darby's gonna win the world title, I feel like that's the way to do it.
I feel like Darby will get something out of this because otherwise this is pretty disappointing. There has to be either this was the plan all along and he knows it, or it did change gears once Moxley got so hot and they're like, but don't worry, we're going to find a way.
I think Moxley beats Danielson, holds it till maybe World's End because that's like a couple months.
Yeah.
And then Darby beats him at the end of the year.
That'd be cool.
So I would like that for Darby for sure.
Me too.
I thought it was a pretty strong episode,
Me too.
Dynamite. Largely just in-ring action that went from match to match really quick with few segments of note, but that's not a complaint at all. It felt like it had a brisk pace as a result, and the action just kept going. Most of the matches were built to really well, so it also felt like kind of like a show that we've been waiting for, and it felt like not like payoff is the word, but
Yeah.
kind of like payoff. I
Yeah,
guess kind of payoffs.
I think so.
I don't think I'm big of a fan as most, but the opener was still really strong and a great moment, if nothing else. Hook vs. Roddy was short, but solid for what we got. A little underwhelming for the end of the FTW title, but a solid enough TV match. The tag title match was my favorite of the night. Non-stop
too.
action, one of the better tag matches of the year. It's not the strongest category this
It's
year,
not.
but it does make it in there, I think.
I agree.
So I did put it there.
I'd be putting it in there.
The women's title match was underwhelming, and the main event was great as expected. Slower than the tag match, but not worse. And the only notable segments were a conglomeration promo, which I'll never complain about, and the Nana MVP segment, which I thought was really strong as well. The collision card stacked too, so I wonder if it'll follow a similar formula. And so I don't really have any major qualms with the show. So it feels like I feel like I could go with A minus.
Nice. I'm close.
I would likely deliberate a little, but I think I'm gonna stick with that just because there's not a lot to complain about.
I like the opener more than you. I thought Bucks Osprey was awesome, match of the night. And then Hook Strong, May, Sakazaki were fine. Main event really good. So again, MVP I thought was cool and a surprise for me. So I went B plus. I thought it was a really enjoyable show. We're pretty much in sync on that. Awesome. All right, we'll take a break from the wrestling analysis and go with a little bit of trivia. It's a segment we call Off the Top of His Head. All right, so I was supposed to continue last week's, but I didn't. I just previewed it and didn't like it, so I changed it on the fly. Asked good old AI, since we were just talking about him so much and hoping that he does get his shot at the title. We're going to go Darby Allin top 15. I said, what are Darby Allin's top 15 matches since joining AEW? And it said, Darby Allin has been a standout performer in AEW, known for his high-risk style and compelling storytelling. Here are 15 of his top matches. So you tell me what you think they are.
Cody Rhodes Full Gear 2020.
Uh, Full Gear 2020. Hold on one second. I'm going to. There was definitely Cody Rhodes on there. Full Gear 2020. Darby Allin, Cody Rhodes is number 1. Is there another one they faced?
Is it on Dynamite or something?
So it's 2020. I feel like they're just saying the wrong pay-per-view, and
Let's see.
they're saying Double or Nothing 2020.
No, because that's when Cody beat Archer in the TNT tournament finals.
So they're probably referring to your
Full Gear, because that's when Darby won the title from Cody.
Okay. So you've got that one. Anything else? I'm gonna just copy this over. Give me a second. Go ahead.
The Four Pillars 4-way.
The Four Pillars 4-way.
Which would be Double or Nothing from last year.
Double or Nothing 20. 4 Pillars. Sorry. Doesn't look like it. It's hard to. That was a 4-way.
Darby, MJF, Full Gear 21.
Darby, NJF, Full Gear 2020.
Remember the one where he won with the headlock takeover?
That's number 7.
Number 7.
Yep.
Okay.
So you got 1 and 7 done.
There's got to be Darby Moxley from Dynamite. There's like, but there's 2. I wouldn't know the
Darby
dates.
Moxley
One of them's 2020. Like,
yes, that's number 2.
August.
That was in
September.
July.
Damn it.
July 29th. So
I
close.
I was close.
So that is 1.
I know there's
Sorry,
another. I think there's a 2019 one
2.
too, right?
Did you get another one on there?
There should be 2 Dynamite matches.
No,
at least
not in the top 15.
I
According
guess
to them.
not in the top 15 then, but
So you've got one from Double or Nothing 20. Oh, there it is. The Pillars 15. Sorry, it was down there at the bottom.
okay.
So you're right so far. Any other ones? Good luck. There's one from Rampage 2022. That's tough. Big tattooed boy that I love.
Brody King.
Yep.
Darby Punk All Out 21.
Nope.
Oh yeah, because CM Punk sucks. That's
correct.
Bad.
The internet knows.
Washed.
AI knows.
That's the one thing they got right.
What else do we have? Interesting. Fighter Fest Night 1, 2021. Surprisingly made the list. If this existed.
I don't know. Is it a match with Sting?
No. With an NXT guy now.
Spears?
No. Did he face Ethan Page?
Ego? Yeah, coffin match?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That was the first coffin match.
Number 9.
All right.
What about...
I remember that.
Okay.
Was there one with Darby and Brody King, which was Dynamite? I think it was the Quake by the Lake.
I love that. That's the only...
That was a coffin match as well.
What about Revolution 2020?
I know he had a match. I'm trying to remember who.
Unless this is wrong.
I feel like it was MJF, and I know it wasn't because he faced Cody on that show.
Another pillar.
Oh, Guevara. Yeah.
It's correct. Okay.
Yeah, I do actually remember
now. One from New Year's Smash Night 2.
What year?
David versus Goliath match, 2021.
Archer?
No. Similar.
Brody Lee?
Big guy never win.
Wait, 2021. Oh, Cage.
Yeah, correct. Tag team match, Revolution 2021.
Oh wait, no.
Cinematic street fight.
The street fight that was in a building, not
That's
the
right.
street. Yeah, it was against Team Taz.
Correct.
Team Taz. What a time.
That's way back.
What a time. That was like early Hook too, when he wasn't even wrestling.
A Dynamite match from March 10th, 2021, against a guy who's still with the company. You loved him in a tag team. Hasn't been on. I haven't seen him
that
in
implies
forever.
I don't love him now.
Maybe you do. We just haven't seen him in forever. You love the theme song, I think, too?
This all sounds like Kip Sabian.
No, and we talked about Ethan Page already.
Scorp?
Yeah.
No, that's true. I do love their theme song.
Another one.
Darby and Scorp. That's one of his best matches? Okay.
A Dynamite May 11th, a dream match for many fans featuring 2 Daredevils.
Oh, Jeff.
Correct. What else did we miss? Dynamite March 30th, 2022. The hint is not helpful. A hard-hitting encounter that showcased both wrestlers' intensity. Recently departed from AEW.
Spears?
One of my boys.
Spears.
No. Definitely not.
Andrade?
Correct.
Darby and Andrade. You could have made up that match and I'd almost believe you.
And I think that was pretty much it. We might have missed it. There's a Jericho in there, they're saying. I think number 3 all time.
No one's best match has ever
Right.
been against Jericho if it's AEW.
And I didn't cross them all off, but I think you got all of them eventually. But anyways, that was a little bit harder because for him, so many of them are from Dynamite, right? Because as soon as I say a pay per view in a year, you know exactly what it is.
Yeah, he's not always on a pay-per-view.
No, and it's like 1, 2, 3, like 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of those are from TV, so that's way harder. Anyways,
Especially if it's Rampage. You think I remember anything from
no,
Rampage?
there's no shot with that one.
Three things I remember from Rampage are the first match where Omega loses to Christian, Punk debut, Yuta bloody.
Right.
Literally anything else I don't like. It'll take me a minute.
It will. But he still did pretty well. We'll shift gears back into talking more wrestling. Notable stuff that we watched this week. It's Highspots and Restholds. Okay, so I watched Raw. I watched NXT. I watched a little bit of TNA even. I don't know if I'll remember. I might have to just go for someone's review for that because didn't write anything down, I don't think. But Raw, again, saw all of it eventually, but out of sequence. Saw the end first, then some of the middle, then the beginning, and the rest, just because that's how I could find it without it being available on my, what is it called? PVR, DVR, TiVo, not TiVo.
PVR.
But anyways,
I just remember from the remote button.
Show opened with Ripley interrupting Dom and Liv in the ring as they're in there bragging about taking out Damian Priest last week, even though Priest beat Dom clean in the middle of the ring. But anyways, so Ripley comes out. She's fired up. She reveals that Dom will be in a shark cage for Ripley.
Everyone's favorite stipulation. I just remember the one where it's Big Show shaved himself and he looked like King Kong Bundy and he faced Big Cass and Enzo baby oiled himself and slept out.
That's right, he did.
So
and
that's the last Shark Cage
NXT's
match.
done Shark Cage, I know that.
There was one, I think it was the Dusty Cup Finals in 2016. Cause it was AOP and the TM61, aka the Mighty, Paul Ellering.
Right, and he was dropping stuff.
That was in Toronto, I think, actually.
Right, I remember
some that. Was the same show as Revival DIY.
So the match is Bad Blood, right? I assume.
Yeah.
And it allows Dom to do his he's traumatized from being locked up
I thought
in
that
prison.
Was funny. That was
funny, so that's pretty funny because he was in overnight or something. And
yeah,
he acts like
that's
he's
been his whole thing since then. Yeah.
Yeah. So later in the show, Pierce confirms that it is the shark cage, and Dom's upset, and you can hear him being like, "I can't be locked up again" or whatever, which was funny. And I thought her intensity was really good when she interrupted them. Kaiser and Sami Zayn, I thought, had a really good match. Honestly, Kaiser dominated most of it, and I thought he looked really good. He did that running basement drop kick into the steps. I told you he had a nice counter of the haluva kick with his running.
Enziguri.
Yeah, it looked really good. Real good near fall there too. And then outside, I think he Irish whipped Sammy. Sammy jumped up onto the barricade and looked like he was going to moonsault or something off. And I keep wanting to say Bartel. Kaiser just came running over and just shoved him off, and he landed hard on one of those big desk chairs and the barricade. And then eventually it was a German suplex and a successful haluva kick. Sammy wins after 12 minutes, but I thought it was really good. And I think I've become a pretty big fan of Kaiser. I think he could be he's
really good.
He could be an intercontinental champion, no problem, I think.
Well, clearly anyone can if they just lose in the first defense.
And then Gunther was hilarious. Did you see his bit? So he comes out in his gear, right? Because it's been constantly.
Oh, I saw a bit of that.
It's been constantly Sammy saying, "I want to face you because I'm the only one who's pinned you since you came to main roster," which is true. And Gunther kind of ducking him. So Gunther comes out in his ring gear, looking like he's ready, and he's like, "I've seen enough. I've seen enough." And he's basically like, they're in Ontario, California, right? Ontario is the place, and now is the time to tell you no, basically, right? So
I did see that. Yeah,
the added touch of him being in his wrestling gear was awesome to me.
Because I did see why he was in his gear. I thought that was odd.
And you're honestly thinking, okay, so he's willing to take the match, but he's going to take it when Sammy just had a really tough match, right? So even that looks possible.
But even he didn't even do that.
So I thought it was pretty funny. Lots of stuff going on with New Day, right? So in one segment, Kofi wants to bring back all their gimmicks. He's got a box of Bootios. He's got Francesca, and then Woods is kind of we can only really do that when we're champions, and we can kind of do whatever you want when you're champions, right? It doesn't work sort of to do it right now.
which
Um,
isn't true because they kind of used to do that always, but
always. So American Made, that's correct, their name, yeah.
that is, yeah.
They show up to mock them, and obviously Woods makes a match against them. Oh, because Kofi told him like, because he's kind of like, why aren't you letting me in on like LWO came, you arranged for them to help us. I didn't have any input. So Kofi's like, you can make all the decisions for the next few weeks. So obviously Woods' decision is they're going to face the Creeds tonight. So that match happens. It was actually a pretty good tag match, but they do end up losing, of course. Um, Woods snaps on Gable and starts beating him in the corner, but I guess technically Gable hadn't interfered or been caught, so it wasn't a DQ. Um, and then Kofi gets shoulder tackled to the floor. Woods takes it was Brutus Ball into a power bomb. I guess that's their new.
Wasn't it the electric chair and they do that?
It
Remember
was an
they?
electric chair.
Well,
He
they
said,
used to do
yeah,
that.
but now he like delivers it more like a power sit out power
I
bomb.
guess that makes it a little more effective. But the Bruce
And,
ball is just
and
kind of
probably
dumb.
safer too in the
Yeah.
long run. Um, I thought Kofi looked really good in the match, and the Creeds finally get, I guess, a quality win, even though it's kind of just part of a storyline of a
That
team
doesn't
breaking up.
affect them.
But the story of Woods unraveling is getting a little bit more interesting as the weeks go on. And then even later in the show, Rey Mysterio and Woods end up interacting, and Woods gets going on a rant about like, because don't have any singles championships, I keep being overlooked and people think they're better than me. So Ray is basically like, I'll put my Balor issue on hold and I'll face you next week. So we're getting Woods Ray. I was thinking I'd like to see Woods win by cheating. So then he picks up a singles win to build the momentum of that story. And it's like further the momentum of that.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going
Yeah.
heel, teasing the heel turn more? So I don't know if that's where they go, but I'd be interested in it. Judgment Day, we're walking by Dragunov, and I can't remember exactly how it went. They don't have Balor with them, right? And I think JD's something about your lucky Balor, blah, blah, blah. And Dragunov's cool. He's just like, yeah, but Balor's not here. So you're not going to do anything, basically, right? Like right in his face. And then JD's like, oh, and you're lucky this week because we're on our way to our match right now. And Dragunov's just like, yeah, start walking. Like, go walk. Like, basically, like, doesn't care that there's three of them or whatever was there, right? I thought he looked really cool. He's just not afraid, right?
I'd take Balor versus McDonough. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I would too. It would be a fun match.
Except there'd be so much to chop with that big head of his.
That's correct.
Stupid.
Cross is trying to recruit Miz isn't right, maybe in the long run, but he's definitely trying to like offer Miz this unsolicited advice. And the final line was something like, "Monsters come in every sizes," because he's supposed to take on Bronson Reed,
Yeah.
right? And Strowman's telling him like, "You don't have a chance." So Miz is skeptical because he's like, "What's your angle?" At least he's not being an idiot, right? So I don't know. I still think it's Miz is going to heel turn at some point. Sheamus still can't talk about anything about Pete Dunne other than calling him Butch
Yep.
and trying to get the crowd to chant or saying the crowd is chanting "Call him Butch." It was dumb.
I don't know. That's just dumb. I
So
hate it.
Reed and Strowman furthered their kind of fun rivalry for me, which is weird to say that I'm enjoying a Braun Strowman anything, but Miz and Reed were supposed to face off, and obviously Strowman comes out to attack before the match even starts. But I should say before, did you see they did a video summarizing the Strowman Reed stuff, and it was like Godzilla.
I
It looked cool.
saw a
I
bit
thought it
of
was
that. I
cool.
didn't actually see the whole thing.
I thought it was cool. Anyways, um, so Strowman shows up before the bell, runs over Reed, choke slams him on the apron. More brawling. Security come out. At one point, they each took out two security each, and I forget. Anyways, lots of security guards going everywhere. Definitely not indie wrestlers or performance center guys.
Hmm.
Definitely real security. And eventually, it's Braun is teasing coming off the top onto Reed and a bunch of security on the floor, and Reed finally retreats. So I thought fun stuff again for 2 weeks in a row. But I told you my fear is that these interactions will be more interesting than the actual match. But did you hear it's announced what it is? Pierce later
No.
announced Bad Blood will be a last monster standing. So,
A non-title match on a PLE is surprising in a time where they don't do a lot of matches on there.
and they've got a tough act to follow. They've been doing all kinds of crazy stuff the last
I'm
2 weeks.
surprised that they are getting a match on there.
It does allow it to be plotting, which is Strowman's thing, right? But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've liked it in these quick little few minutes of chaos, right? I don't know a full match unless they get it over with fast. I
Yeah.
don't need to see like a 20-minute Strowman.
Mhm.
I like Reed, don't get me wrong. It's Strowman I have a problem with generally. But anyways, Damage Control, or sorry, Drew responded to Punk, and he was more serious this week too. Although he's generally kind of serious, right? So it was less noticeable. But he admitted he didn't really want to go into another Hell in a Cell match because he said he's still broken from being in these matches before. His wife wants him to back away from Punk altogether because she sees the mental toll it's taking on her husband. But he says the match will happen. He'll make Punk bleed. Punk is just a man who Drew has broken so easily in the past and will break Punk permanently inside Hell in a Cell. So this has been a long time
No way
coming,
he
right?
wins though.
I
Considering
agree.
this feels like the blow off.
I think it finally has to be. This has been a crazy long feud. And I don't think it's like, I'm sure it's supposed to be like a legacy feud for them. Doesn't feel like Punk and Swerve, or sorry, Page and Swerve to me.
Yeah, no, it's not the same.
But anyways, Damage Control decisively beat the Unholy Union. I don't even.
You mean Unholy Union? No,
I don't know if I knew that was the name of them.
I feel like you mentioned that before. I thought it was weird that the announcer was like Alfire Island Dawn and he called him Unholy Union instead of the Unholy Union.
Yeah.
It just seems weird.
Oh, the new commentator guy totally missed one of Kofi's signature moves, the Trouble in Paradise. It was just a regular kick, and he called it the Trouble in Paradise. He's still having his moments, but there have been shades of, I think it was the Belair Sky match, where he's almost reminiscent. You're gonna love this, of Moro, because he just got caught up in that, and he was like clearly just thought it was an awesome match and was like super hyped about it. So I kind of liked it. Anyways,
I do miss Morrow.
Damage Control won a pretty solid 8-minute match. Io got the pinfall with the moonsault. I think Sane jumped the other way onto the floor with her elbow thing. Seems like Damage Control will face Jade and Belair, which doesn't feel fresh to me. Have they faced each other 1,000 times?
Almost 100%.
Okay. Or does it just feel that way? I don't know.
I mean, with the depth of that division, I feel like you're tripping, but
True. They aired the SmackDown football field segment. Did we talk about that last week?
we talked about it off air like today.
So it was, and I'm sure people loved it, but it was so.
I have seen some people rave about it, like it was like the presentation was different.
It was so cinematic and so grandiose. It was too much for me. That's like the comparison I would give, I guess, is the rock music I prefer is like more raw and not polished and this was like the opposite of that.
Yeah,
This was
for sure.
the brightest, shiniest,
The epitome of WWE production.
most grand, like in the middle of a giant football stadium with clear cinematic.
That's just dumb to me. Like, why are they? I don't even know why.
It was very Cody Rhodes to me. Anyways, not a fan, but it was just kind of was ridiculous to me almost. It didn't feel serious. Do you know what I mean? Zayn talks to, oh my god, Sami Zayn talks to Jey Uso back. He's something like, "Big night tonight, Jay," and he's like, guess what his response was?
Yeet.
Yeet. So I can't, man. Like that's all he says, kind of thing. He's kind of like Groot at this point. But
That's horrible.
But all he can say is yeet. And again, I told you I thought they really telegraphed the result of the main event by just how much it was like everyone giving Jay advice and a huge Jay package, and like clearly this was the time, right? So Uso did win the Intercontinental title. I thought it was a really good main event match. Braun dominated the majority of it, I think. But I guess he went for the spear one too many times out on the floor. Uso countered it with a super kick. Looked pretty good. Hit a spear of his own that sent Braun through the barricade. Rolled Braun in the ring. Another spear. Another splash. He wins the Intercontinental title first time, obviously.
No likey.
After 21 minutes. So go ahead. I thought I would, just say.
I did actually write.
I said we would discuss our thoughts on that. So, your thoughts?
Yeah, I get Jay's crazy over, but I still think it's a mistake. His character's a joke, and he can't be taken seriously as a legitimate solo guy. And more importantly, he can't carry matches on his own. It's not the same as the Usos together.
Yeah.
Again, I get he's over, but like he's incredibly flawed, I think. That aside, I think having Breakker losing his first defense is a bad look for him, and it feels like a stupid call. He's like their next big thing, I think, and he's been built as a killer so far. And this title is supposed to be like the building block that sets him up for a world title run not too distant in the future. He beat the guy who beat Gunther. That should be something.
Mm-hmm.
So to have him falter so soon damages him a bit, and I question where they're going after this. I feel like we said in the long run he'll be fine, but I still find this to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm
I'm not
not.
surprised. I actually I am a little surprised just because like I feel like they've actually put work into Breaker.
So a couple things. One, Jay is never going to be more popular than he is right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's no way he has this staying power. This gimmick has a shelf life. His singles work to me in ring is just a little better than ordinary. Um, and the other thing is, I think they've now decided that Braun is undeniable and that this doesn't really hurt him,
I know. I
and that
just
it's
don't
like
like
it's
that though.
it's kind of like it's now or never for Jey Uso, and it can be any time for Braun Breaker. I agree. I don't love the decision, but I think that's their logic, and it's not terrible logic. Like
No.
they can reheat Braun anytime they want, or like I said, send him to SmackDown and as a heel for Cody to devour, like whatever, get him in that
Oof,
main event orbit sort of thing. But I wasn't a fan of the decision. The
for
match was
sure.
actually quite good though. NXT, you were in the room for a bunch to start.
Was I?
You were.
Oh, I was. Yeah, you're right.
And they decided to do this press conference thing where a lot of people had really short, cheesy, like you saw it looked
Yeah,
just,
I saw Ego and I think I saw a bit of Trick.
and the whole setup just looked cheesy and lame,
Yeah.
and nobody really said much of consequence. So I get what they were trying to do. It felt to me like they're gonna show these next week, hoping new people on CW. It's a quick
This will
summary.
be like the equivalent of the PLE hype package at the beginning. They'll
Right.
play these at the
It's like
beginning
here's
or
a
something.
quick snapshot of Trick so you get his personality, and here's a quick snapshot of Ethan Page so you get his personality and a bit of backstory in case you're new and like you didn't know wrestling was on, you happen to be on what is it,
Yeah.
CW, and oh, what is this? Wrestling. So anyways, week in ring, a week overall I thought this week. So it starts out you saw this Kalani Jordan defending her North American title against Ren Sinclair. You came
Oh, I
down
did see a bit of this. I don't remember actually paying attention,
You
but
came down just after the crowd was chanting Ren XT, which I thought was pretty funny. Um, Remember, she did her. I don't know if tornado is the right word. Jordan's slingshot,
oh, I do remember that.
and
You're
it looked
right.
like her legs just
Yeah,
crunched Sinclair in the head.
I
So,
do actually remember that.
so Heights and Bourne are on the outside, and they're like super excited for Ren and her offense. And Dempsey is like being the hard to impress guy, leader of the group, I guess.
Yeah, I do remember like Born and
We're like so fired up.
yeah.
So Ren comes off the top, misses Kalani, takes out the no quarter catch crew, back in the ring for Jordan's spinning kick and the split legged moonsault. She wins just under 10 minutes. I thought it was fine, but I feel like sometimes Kalani's trying to do too much. And like, you know how Saul kind of backed away from everything has to be super athletic and flippy into like, I
Mhm.
can do a little bit of that. It goes a
Yeah.
long way. Kalani still does a lot of, I think, extra stuff I don't really need. She feels like a gymnast wrestling rather than like a wrestler who
And like
does some
her theme
gymnasts.
and entrance is so generic. It's like there's really not a lot in her character
And
that's
her on the mic,
different from that.
oof, I don't know if she's on our list already
No one does
for
it like Lana.
worst on the mic,
I feel
but
like I did put it
I
there
think so
just for
too.
you.
So then it's Paige's turn at the fake press conference talking about being a main eventer and face of the franchise. He admits Trick is resilient, but that won't be enough. He personally guarantees that Punk will not have an impact on the match as the ref. He then sort of like won't answer any more questions, dismisses people, and leaves. So I don't know, man. I have some thoughts on Ethan Page. I don't feel like we were talking about this off air. Like I don't feel like we've gotten all ego, right? And that
Yeah, you were talking
I
about
wouldn't
that.
have even called him all ego in this iteration because it's not this is like partial ego sort of thing, right? It lacks the heat and overconfidence that this guy is so good at displaying, right? He's been kind of
It's just
not,
been fan and pin over and over and over.
and even his promos are not him at full speed ahead, right? So I don't know why he's not really going for it. Maybe that's not the character he's working on. He's trying something different, but he can be so good if he just embraces.
Which is why I'm disappointed that again they didn't go with Men of the Year.
Yeah, so I agree. I don't know. He's still, I hate saying that he's a useful guy to have, but I was hoping for better
I
when
thought the whole point of this one was that this is better for him,
he's
right?
just
And
been
it
kind of like
hasn't like.
70% of him, which is still good, but it's not. I don't know. It's not his peak form.
Isn't all ego.
Um,
Partial ego.
CM Punk, everybody loves him backstage. Obviously, he's talking to Javon Evans. Trick interrupts. Punk says he's rooting for Trick, but he's going to call it down the middle, of course, because he is a man of impeccable integrity.
I hate this because it's like, well, not just because it's Punk, but it's like, if you're being referee, it's implied that you're gonna be
Right.
down the middle until proven otherwise. So it's like
Yes.
the fact he has to be like, I'm gonna like call down the middle, like should.
He says if Page is the better man, then Punk will raise his hand. And that's just okay. Everyone knows how we feel about Punk here. So him pretending to be this selfless man of integrity who's there to help young talent is just rubbing me
I
the
hate
wrong
it.
way. We know how selfish he is,
Yeah.
right? But at least he wasn't the victim of anything this segment, so that's not nothing. Grayson Waller effect, Theory's there with him. So they call out Fraxium. Fraxium come out. Waller suggests Fraxium won't make it as a tag team. Fraxium points out they're more solid than Waller and Theory, who seem to have issues too. Waller says that when they beat Fraxium, Fraxium's done and better off as singles wrestlers. Then the heels sort of mock the flippy nature of the champs. Axiom runs off the list of teams they've beaten, sort of to talk about their credibility. Theory talks tough, says there are levels to this game. They'll give them
And they're above.
right. They'll give the main roster rub to the NXT Tag Champs. So again, this like any chumps on main roster.
Yeah, Theory and
Although
Waller are
they're doing
not
it,
high on the pecking order. I'll
maybe
tell you
they're
that.
doing it tongue in cheek heel though. You know what I
I
mean?
guess so.
Fraser asks why it's just the Waller effect and not Theory 2, and you can see it's kind of striking a nerve with Theory. He starts to call Waller out for it, and rather than Waller having to answer, he just sucker punches Fraser. So, anyways, the heels stand tall, and I think Waller and Theory, it's more like they have go away heat than like productive heat.
I think so.
I feel
I
like,
think, and especially with Theory, I feel like the whole thing has been like he's just not clicking as a heel. So I think people are a lot of what I've seen written is that we're waiting for to see how his face turn on Waller works out.
and I thought Waller had potential to be like a really effective heel,
I
right?
think Waller's good.
Yeah, so it kind of comes across like they're amusing themselves, regardless of whether or not it's amusing anybody else
Yeah,
sometimes. Anyways, kind of back and forth. It's interesting that faces are trying to drive a wedge between the heels, which is kind of a unique
I guess
take on
so.
that, right? Earlier today, good old Lexus King with like the beard and stuff is just on another level still. So he sits down to talk with Oro Mensa, and he talks about the trauma Mensa experienced with his father, and he's trying really hard to sound sincere and empathetic here. And he's even like, "May the best man win," and shake Mensa's hand. So you're kind of like, the other shoe has to drop here,
Yeah.
right? There's no way this guy could be a babyface in any universe. Hank and Tank have like an 80s style generic promo. They're going to take on the Good Brothers tonight. Ashanti the Adonis is backstage with a bunch of women who are wondering. Remember before his match last week, he gave a woman a rose and then blew her a kiss in the middle of the match. I think it cost him the win, if I remember correctly. Anyway, um, Adonis calls Tatum a freak. Tatum Paxi tries to flirt with her, but she rejects him too. And it's just another like more women don't want anything to do with Adonis, right? So, and I guess we're supposed to wonder who the woman at ringside was, even though I don't know why.
Oh yeah, there's someone in the crowd.
Hank and Tank beat the Good Brothers in about 5 minutes, which is crazy. Tank was the face in peril. Hank got the hot tag, including a boss man slam to Anderson. Good Brothers regain control. Tank makes a blind tag, and the faces hit the spear power slam combo they do for the win. Good Brothers putting over young talent. Again, I am shocked. You are falling asleep. I will go faster.
No, I'm all right.
Waller and Theory harass Javon Evans and Cedric backstage, so obviously we're going to get a match with them at some point. Oro Mensa did beat Lexus King. Lash and Chikara Jackson were at ringside with Mensa. We go to a picture-in-picture of Ava at a press conference for a few seconds with no audio on for some reason, and she takes the bigger chunk of the screen. I don't understand.
Awesome.
Mensa has some cool-looking offense. King does not. He works like an 80s enhancement talent to me. Like he doesn't really do anything. Anyways, Booker always does mention the absence of Noam Dar, which I appreciate, and I want him back as soon as possible. Anyways, King gets his feet on the ropes trying to pin Mensa, but he takes them off the ropes, saying he doesn't want to win that way. And then Mensa does the same thing and gets the pinfall. So King stopped himself from cheating, and Mensa cheated. So I don't understand. Like, you can't do Lexis King as a babyface unless they're like,
Unless
yep,
they, unless they shave him.
he's been a good enough heel. Let's see what he can do.
You have to shave him though.
I don't know what's going on here. I'm kind of interested to see where we go. He can't be a face,
I don't
so
know.
I don't know. Tony D training montage. Remember, he decided he was going to do things differently to face Femi again. Pull ups, climbs the ropes. That's his new training
So
regimen.
he wasn't
I guess.
climbing the ropes before.
I guess that's going to make the difference. The rope climbing is the key to beating Obafemi, as we all know. And basically, he's not doing very well, but the rest of his group are super encouraging. And then he locks in and does some actual intense stuff. He boxes some Femi substitute, gets knocked down, but comes back to dominate. So I just think it's stupid that they're trying to put this underdog footage together like he's Rocky when this is a mob boss who like abducts and murders people. And it's supposed to be like, watch him train so hard to face this unbeatable monster. Like, root for the little
If
guy.
he's the
Tony
one
D.
who ends Femi's run, I swear to
He's-
God.
I don't know where they're going with it, but
I feel like that's where they're going with it.
if it's all in service of Femi and Tony's just going to lose again and then go away, maybe he moves up. I don't know.
You hear how dumb and unrealistic that
I
sounds,
know.
right? You
Too bad.
said go away.
It does feel like he needs to get his win back here, which I don't agree with.
No.
So, anyways, we got that. Ridge Holland beat Riley Osborne in about 3 minutes. Riley attacked before the bell, got the advantage. Then Holland quickly took over, belly to belly from inside the ring over the ropes to the floor. Another flurry for Osborne, including sending Holland through the barricade. But Holland catches Osborne running the ropes, hits his Redeemer for the win after 4 minutes. Continues the attack after Thea is screaming. Osborne dives over top of Hale onto Holland. Officials have to separate them. So it feels like it's not done. Osborne got quite a bit of offense in the 4 minutes or whatever it was. And then it seems like maybe they're going to have to face again. And I'm still thinking Hale is the reason Osborne loses. Maybe it's on a bigger stage.
What's the big... Oh, the CW.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay, maybe the St. Louis one then, not the Chicago one.
That would actually make sense. They're delaying her so that CW can see her as a babyface maybe for a week.
Yeah.
And then show the turn.
Yeah.
To new people. Again, I think they think
they're on the road for the first two, right? So,
so.
There's the Chicago and the one where Orton's facing Devon.
So I think she still turns. Maybe it's...
Yeah.
I don't know. Miz on a cell phone promo telling us that Femi and Tony D will be on Miz TV next week. So I'm like, Punk and Miz on NXT. What did I do? And I think it gets worse too. I think there's a third thing that I wasn't impressed with. Femi then is at the press conference and he learns about being on Miz TV and he has no reaction to it, which I thought was funny. And he says Tony can fool everyone else, but Femi knows he is broken. Then he refuses to take any more questions, which is the thing. Like, they say like next to nothing, and then they're like, I'm done here all night, basically. We're also told, interesting fun fact, he's approaching becoming the longest reigning North American champion ever.
I want to say it's Wesley.
That's great. I think you're right.
It's either Wesley or Velveteen.
They won't mention that. It'll be Wesley. And Femi is clearly a heel now, right? So they've made that decision because he was kind of wavering back and forth.
Yeah.
Wentz and Lee go back and forth before their interview because it was like they hadn't started their interview yet. They were on a split screen thing, but it's like they learned that their mics were already live, so they're like going back and forth without any interview or anything there. And Lee is kind of being like a calmer antagonist, and he tells Wentz to have his I wouldn't have your wife watch this match, and of course this is the lame.
Wasn't it fiance?
This is the overused don't just mention their family, and now
you know who Wentz's fiance is, right?
No.
Dolan.
Oh, interesting. So they rip off their stuff. Wentz runs through and finds Wesley, and they brawl. Officials break them up. Lots of officials.
I thought it was funny when Wentz said, "Keep my fiance's name out your effing mouth." That was like almost exactly what Will Smith said to Chris Rock and
there's a lot of
whatever thing that was.
Mention family.
Whenever that was.
One of the awards things.
So
this feud's had a decent build, but I thought Wentz was overdoing it a little bit in this one. I preferred Lee's calm, manipulative tone here as a heel. And he's like, "This is my friend. I know how to push his buttons, and I'm just going to calmly do it." Right. So I like that. I do feel like talking about people's family to gain heat is in WWE and AEW far too frequent.
Yeah, I feel like in
It's kind
AEW
of
they tend to
lazy.
do it better, which is sounds biased, but then I just feel like they do it more realistically.
Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to think of some specific examples.
Um,
Ava is with Lola
maybe
Vice.
Swerve and Danielson because that was used pretty well,
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Jada, that was used really well. I love, and
and
in the
they
within the
were
match, it
there.
was beautiful.
But even like I feel like it was brought up before that though, because didn't Swerve say the line
When
about
Hangman's
the
family and
didn't Swerve say the line
Swerve's
about
family,
Bree having like SCT or something?
yes,
So that's
yes,
there's that.
yes. Jada Parker comes in, and she and Vice sort of bicker back and forth. Ava wants them to tag together against Fatal Influence next week. Can they coexist?
I feel like the answer is always yes.
My notes: two people with charisma and one devoid of it in this segment. Poor Ava.
Yeah,
And it
Well,
makes it
it
glaring,
was off
right?
air, right? It wasn't when we were talking about how much she's like she comes from like charisma personified, and she's like
Like
the ultimate
he got all of
charisma
it. He used
backing.
all of it in his lineage,
Yeah,
all concentrated in one dude.
yeah.
And it's obvious because I think Parker is awesome and Vice is pretty charismatic too. And then it's Ava just like a plank of wood in between the two of
As
them.
long as Vice doesn't cry.
Yes, true. That was terrible. Brindley Reese and Petrovich taking on Rosemary again and Wendy Chu. So Punk, Miz, and Rosemary and the Good Brothers all on NXT this week. That is
And
someone's
then you get
listening to
Miz and
this.
Punk next week.
Someone's listening to the show and doing things to spite me. I'm pretty sure.
It might be me.
It might be you. So Ashante comes out with a rose as Brindley Reese looks like she's about to make the hot tag to Petrovich, but Petrovich leaves the apron to go address Adonis for some reason. So then Rosemary hits her finisher on Reese. So unless I missed something, like Petrovich looks like an idiot because she basically Adonis comes out and she leaves to go. I don't understand to engage with him.
I don't know what Rosemary's finisher is.
It's that not wing clipper, but it's like a underhook, not DDT.
It
Anyway,
sounds like the wing clipper.
a little bit, yeah. Maybe it is the wing clipper.
This is like, and she's got it. And then
It's
she
funny
like,
because she's had it for a million years and he barely had it, but it's still the wing clipper to me.
well, because that's also a good name for it. Just
It
the
is.
way the butterfly.
Yeah,
It's just a good name for it.
yeah,
But like, it's the one where like she has it in a butterfly, and
yes.
like their legs are on her
And their
thighs,
head's
and
under her armpit.
she sits down, so like
Correct.
they end up seated, but it hurts.
Correct.
Yeah, it's the wing clipper.
Okay, all right.
I
Wing
remember.
clipper
I
it
remember
is.
when
Wing clipper it is.
Garza won the cruiserweight title from Rush. He hit the wing clipper and then like held on to it as a submission, which
Not
is kind of
Roosh?
cool. No, Leo Rush.
Yeah, I know. Ethan Page confronts CM Punk backstage, says
We
he
should call him somewhat ego.
doesn't want any of Punk's drama when he refs Page's
That
match.
is valid, honestly.
Punk
Because
is
like watch McIntyre come in like Claymore someone.
and Punk is shocked that he's being accused of creating drama because the self-awareness on this man is off the charts. Of course, my editorializing. He is the victim of other people's drama, but would never cause it himself, right, guys?
No, that doesn't seem right.
He reiterates that he will call things down the middle. He is a man of integrity. Fatal Influencer are now at the press conference, and Henley is rude and won't reveal which two of them will face Parker and Vice. Nyx is rude, then Jane is too, and she uses specific names, and Parker and Vice burst in and are held back by security because she needs to keep their names out of her mouth, I assume. And just like Toxic Attraction, maybe JC Jane, because she's the common denominator here, they all seem to be trying way too hard, right? And that was the problem with the other one. What is it? Toxic Attraction? They were just
There it is.
trying too hard, and it came off as not believable.
Their entrance is engraved in my brain.
And these press conference things have been rough. And it says here in my notes that you are back for this one. A-Town Down Under taking on Alexander and Javon Evans.
I saw the finish because remember I came in as you were rewinding the finish repeatedly because you were confused.
Oh, that's right, because I do have you. I do say you take the finish away. So there was an awkward Evans Alexander dive spot to the floor, almost like the heels weren't sure what to do. So Evans dove out first, and he kind of took out one of them, and then the other one was almost holding him up. So it was like even commentaries like, it looks like he got caught, and then so camera cuts to Cedric in the ring. he dives out and onto Waller in theory, and Evans is just nowhere to be seen all of a sudden. So it's like they had to figure out what they were doing. Anyways, Evans gets a stretch where he flies all over the place, leading to Waller breaking up a pinfall. Pretty cool double forearm by the heels. I thought it was super simple, but it looked really impactful. Pace picks up, action goes onto the floor, Fraxium show up, and then I said Jack can summarize the finish and we can discuss.
Oh yeah. So Fraser gets up on the apron.
That was
Axiom pulls him down, and that trips Javon on the ropes. So then the heels beat Javon.
But before that,
This is the part I was missing, which made
Fraser was going after Waller.
Fraser was arguing with Waller. Waller pushed someone into Fraser, so that got him angry there, which makes it make sense because the way without context, it was very weird.
Fraser's getting in Waller's face. Axiom's kind of playing peacemaker in between them. Waller shoves Axiom into Fraser, and then that leads to Fraser getting up on the apron, I guess. Anyways, so that is what happened. Easily the best match on the show. Very low bar, as you would say. Decent action. Couple of slower stretches normally when Waller and Theory were in control. I don't think Cedric Alexander is as impressive as he used to be. I think he's packed on a lot of muscle, right? Like he's a lot bigger, and
because I've seen a couple times this year the clip circulating of him versus Ibushi in the CWC, and it's bananas. He's also a lot leaner though.
It's like he got bulkier and didn't change his style, so it doesn't quite work for me as much as it used to. But anyways, then Trick's at the press conference. He's got to control his emotions and be Trick Williams. He promises a new champion after next
his
week.
was mid. This is one of the
super generic, nothing new. I put lacking intensity ?
What?
You agree? I think you were there for that
Yeah.
one. Main event was Julia and Perez having their in-ring press conference. So Perez is kind of rude, interrupts, and was it Saxton there?
Yes.
Scolding her, so he lets Julia speak. Julia speaks completely in Japanese for a long time with no subtitles, right? And people cheer like they know what she's saying, which I thought was funny.
Which that feels like when you cheer for Cassidy doing the lazy kicks, you know it's like nothing.
Funaki eventually translates. He puts Perez over, but Julia is here to bring in the new era. Perez should just pass the torch to her. Perez says she was a Julia fan first and watched all of her matches. Perez says that
Which is fair because I've seen none of her matches.
And I like Perez's argument here. She's kind of like, listen, you could have gone anywhere in the world. You came here. You're challenging for my title because you know I'm the best. You know it's the best title, right? So you could have gone anywhere and you came looking for me. So I thought that was good. Julia answers the next question in English. She said she loves being in America or something, and NXT gets to feel the beautiful madness. And then
she said that like 3 times.
Absolute silence from the crowd.
It felt like forced, like the nickname.
It was almost like, you didn't hear me? Why aren't you cheering? And then nobody knew what she was referring to, I don't think. And then Vakur pops up on the Tron, right? Interrupts, and she's basically next for Julia.
So it's like, does Julia lose to Perez, or does Julia win here and lose to Vakur, or does Vakur lose to Julia?
I think Julia beats Perez.
Beats Vakur?
No. Yes, beats Vakur as well. And then goes main roster pretty fast, and then they can focus on Vakur. That's just my theory.
I guess so.
I'd kind of forgotten about Vakur and was excited to see her because I saw one match of hers. She was awesome.
She's already wrestled.
Yeah. I forgot she was around.
She had a house show match like almost immediately after they signed her.
Because I was super impressed with her.
She didn't even have a theme or Tron. They just used a generic theme and then sent her out.
I thought this was a pretty good segment, solid end to the show, and they're making Julia feel like a big deal and that this is an important match. So thought that was well done. TNA, couple things. Sol Ruka debuted. Crowd was super hot and into her. She was tagging with Jordan Grace against Rosemary and Wendy Chu, so I get to see them again, which was great. So with a lot of action on the floor before it even starts, Ruka hit a moonsault to the floor, and she did hit her soul snatcher, although you could hear them all talking about it to try and set it up. It was a little convoluted getting to it, but the crowd responded to that soul snatcher like crazy. And then Tasha Steelz ran out to attack Jordan Grace, so it was a DQ. Pretty fun match, only a few minutes. But Matthew Raywalt could not figure out that her name is Sol Ruka and not Sol Rucka. He kept saying Rucka to the point where whoever the other guy is, Hannafan would repeat and be like Ruka sort of thing, you know. Then the only other thing I have is I saw Gresham and Laredo Kid. So Laredo Kid had come back from injury and was definitely not in great shape, back to his pre-injury shape, it looked like. And Gresham has just dropped the I'm a Squid ink guy.
Yeah,
And
it's so
Hannafan
weird.
struggled to try and explain, like, he's just back to a regular
Yeah,
dude
it's so
now.
weird that they just gave up on that.
They did. Good action. Laredo Kid's flying around the ring as he does, and Gresham's trying to ground him because he's targeting his knee. And the refs end up stopping the match. Gresham counter. It was a really cool counter. And then just repeatedly, remember how Deeb just slams their knee straight into the
Yeah.
mat? He did that, and the ref ended up stopping it. So then I started watching. It was a trios match. I think it was Bailey, who's the tag or the X Division champ again. Eh? Did you know that?
Yeah, I honestly I didn't, and then I randomly saw that he was with the bell again, so I looked on their Instagram. And yeah, he beat Wentz at
Yeah.
Victory Road.
So they had a 6-person tag. It was ABC and Bailey against Wentz and Miguel and somebody, maybe. I don't know. I was kind of half paying attention. I was finishing up my notes. But anyways, so I watched a bit of it. NXT or TNA. I'll try and get back into it at some point. I don't know if anyone cares, but so I got a glimpse of it this week. And did you get anything from SmackDown that
No,
just
there was nothing
happened?
notable. The only thing I had was the thing in news, just because I find it funny that Tongalo was in a ladder match.
That will be interesting. Do you have any figuring stuff this week?
Not this week.
All right, so that's going to bring us to the end of episode 219. Thanks everybody for joining us. We do appreciate you checking us out any week for however long you watch us. Tell somebody about us. If you think we're doing a good job, help us grow because we're terrible at doing that ourselves. We come down here and record, and that's about it pretty much. So any help you can give us is appreciated. We'll definitely be back here for episode 220 next week. And until then, everybody, take care.